I was making fun of this figure in my unboxing video. I know that I have a dirty mind, not going to deny that, but all I'm seeing in this base over here isn't a heart shape. All I'm seeing is Marin Kitagawa stomping on Gojo's balls. Hi and welcome back to the channel. I'm Steven, today with a prize figure review, one of the most anticipated releases at the beginning of year 2025. Now before I proceed, a quick mention about Alta's Fischl from Genshin Impact, which a few days ago I did the unboxing. I said that I would be reviewing that figure next, but you know that figure is quite difficult to film, so complex, and I want to make sure the quality control is there, so I'm pushing her to next week, no later than that. So coming back to today's figure review over here, I brought in this tiny thing over here for the sake of comparison. As you can see, this previous release by Furio is starting to look disappointingly small. I already complained about that in my previous review of this smaller version over here. That is the desktop cute version. And up to this point, the best product line by Taito is still AMP Plus, Artist Masterpiece Plus, right? Is this new product line T-Most better than AMP Plus? Well, in terms of size, yes, this is way bigger. But in terms of refinement and quality, it feels like T-Most is still slightly behind AMP Plus. Yep, AMP Plus is still nicer, right? So now today we'll take an in-depth look of this Taito T-Most Marin Kitagawa price figure, which I got for around 2,700 Japanese yen, yeah, 2,750 yen or so. But by now, if you take a look at Amazon Japan, 4,000 yen plus. Yeah, because the demand is there, obviously. Of course, if you try hard enough, you might be able to find her for a decent price. Okay, so speaking of size, right, this desktop cute here is like 10 centimeters. Yup, Nandroid size, right? But this T-Most version is a full 30 centimeters or 12 inches all the way to the top of her head. If we subtract the height of the base over here from the tip of her toes all the way to the top of her head, that would be 27 centimeters. Pretty close, if not at 1/6 scale. That alone should tell you to go out and get one immediately. I think this will sit very nicely next to those Buy Cute Bunny figures by Furio even. Yeah, about the same size. As for the boxes over here, as you can see, this is the difference. Actually, not too big of a difference in terms of size because this Marin figure was split into 3 or 4 parts. Actually 5 parts including the base inside the box, and it was very efficiently packaged. Assembly process was straightforward, but the parts are very tight fitting, at least in my copy, so you'll want to exercise extra caution. My recommendation is to assemble the base first, then you go from leg all the way up to her head, and lastly the tail, which means you plug in the legs into the base, then you plug the torso from above and push it down like that. So you can exert extra pressure without worrying on breaking anything. If you're holding the figure's top half and bottom half in both hands like that, and then you try to push it in, then you might exert extra pressure on the wings over here by accident and break them, which wouldn't be nice. So yeah, you push it down like that instead of assembling it like that, if that makes any sense. And lastly, you'll push in the tail. Yeah, the tail is also a little bit tight. Now, the stability of this figure is not very good, unfortunately, and I think part of the problem is the design of the base over here, which looks a little bit like a soap box, not a very refined one. If you look from the side, yeah, so what is happening is that this love-shaped base over here, it is like partially floating in a way, because it looks nice, but the design here is not a very good one. It is contributing to the wobbliness of the figure a little bit over here. So this figure is actually quite challenging to film the close-up detail look, because whenever I touch my camera, the figure also shakes along with it, and annoying. Yeah, so this was a frustrating figure in a way for a content creator like me, for a figure reviewer. A small reminder for everyone, if you are finding yourself enjoying this video so far, please do subscribe to this channel for more anime figure content every week. During my unboxing, I said that I could barely see any mold lines on the side of the figure, right? That is true for the side of the figure because the mold lines are actually in front, and I'm not sure if I should be praising or criticizing Taito over here. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention because I was taking the figure out from the box for the first time, right? Unfortunately, this Marin Kitagawa figure is no different from literally every single other prize figure out there. You can see mold lines. But the problem I have is that they are asymmetrical. So on her left leg over here, this leg over here, the mold line is along the front, like right dead in the center, and I don't like that. Yeah, it ruins the figure a bit. Meanwhile, the right leg over here is along the side. So why is that the case? It is just how that specific part is being oriented inside the cast when they pour the liquid molds, right? Whether it is upright or lying flat like that, then yes, the lines are going to be different in direction. So that is not nice, but it is probably also my very own OCD. I don't know. I'm just pointing out what I'm seeing with this figure, right? Not to say it is necessarily a deal breaker. Regardless of what I've just said about her legs though, because I'm kind of a leg enthusiast over here, the mold line over here is way better than most other prize figures. It is above average, not too obvious. So all is good over here. Maybe my expectations are a little bit unrealistic because Taito keeps increasing my expectations with each of their new release to begin with. Now we move on to the most important part of the figure, which is the face. In my opinion, this is hands down the best Marin Kitagawa least cosplay prize figure yet. Yeah, no comparison at all. This thing does not even come close. Yeah, not to say she has a bad face. This one has an okay face, but somehow, maybe because this is a bigger figure, they are able to get things done in a more accurate way. Sculpting, painting, decal placements and everything, especially around the mouth region, this figure is done way better, mostly due to her size, I think. Not to say you shouldn't get this one. If you are a Marin Kitagawa fan, just buy as many figures of her as you wish, but this new version is the new queen. In terms of face sculpt, it does make me wonder, how does third-party resin figure brands keep messing up her face back then, like a couple of years ago? And even Proof's scale figure of her wasn't very good looking either. The face looks a little bit odd. Taito has mastered the face of Marin Kitagawa over here, make no mistake. One more thing I would like to focus on the sculpt of this figure is the back of her head over here. So these are the kind of things I look out for in every scale figure, right? Price figure or scale figure, whatever the cost, these are the kind of things I look out for. Now I want you to compare the back of their heads over here. The sculpt on this newer version is way more detailed, right? You can see the sculpting on the hairlines over here. Meanwhile, this smaller version, it is just like smooth, nothing to see. Yeah, so this is what I call sculpt detail, and not every figure are equal. Sometimes you have two figure brands doing the same character, but one will look more detailed than the other. It is things like this that make a difference. How much detail, how much lines, how much depth they go into their sculpt, and then on top of that, is there any shading when they paint the figure? The kind of things I look for. Meanwhile, for everywhere else, her torso, her body, her outfit, and so on, the sculpting is just average. It feels like Taito puts a lot of effort into the head. And then everywhere else, they keep things normal and perfectly average, which is okay. I'm not complaining, right? The face and the hair over here is so important on this figure and they got it right. So the sculpting, for the standards of a prize figure, this is a very high 8.5 out of 10. Yes, this is pretty high for a prize figure. Moving on to the paintwork. Well, paintwork is more to average to above average. And I couldn't give this figure too high of a score, maybe a 7 out of 10 maximum, simply because this isn't a very detailed figure. It has the size, but the detail department is simple, right? She is wearing a black and white outfit. There are not much fine details where it requires extra care to paint, none of that sort of thing. Just black all the way, and then this upper piece over here, what do you call it? It looks unpainted to me. Like this piece coming out from the mold is exactly white color. Nothing wrong with that. It looks unpainted to me. I'm not too sure. But that is fine. As long the part looks nice, right? The sculpting looks nice. I'm not complaining. Just that I wish that there is a little bit of shading on these white color frilly parts over here. I shouldn't be expecting that in the price figure, I know. I'm just pointing it out. And if there are any flaws to the paintwork of this figure, I think I spotted one on the back of her wing over here, her right wing. Yeah, on top of here, you can see the black color paint being rubbed off in some way. This is definitely quality control. Maybe the paint wasn't dry yet and then they wrapped plastic wrapping around the part. And then when you tear off the plastic films, yeah, it takes the paint along with it. If you are not pleased about it, then it is very simple. You can just paint it yourself, black color paint, but you need to paint both wings on top over here so that it looks symmetrical on both sides, and then you just do a matte coating over it and she will look fine, right? Very easy fix over here. So with the paint work, yeah, I think this is a maximum 7 out of 10. 7 is still a very high score, and part of it, why I'm giving her such a generous score is because her hair looks really nice. I don't think this is painting at all, like the very edges of her hair over here. Yes, it is translucent at the very end. Meanwhile, the top of her head over here, it is like a darker shade of red color. So from the looks of it, they manufactured the hair completely in translucent pink material, and then they partially painted it on top over here and then slowly let it fade downwards. A very smart way of saving manufacturing cost actually. And finally, I would like to address the base over here. I did mention on how the base design contribute to the lack of stability of this figure, but the next thing I would like to mention, yes, I was making fun of this figure in my unboxing video, that ball sack base over there, like what? I know that I have a dirty mind, not going to deny that, not to mention I do appreciate Taito spending extra money giving us a 2-part base that involves spending money, by the way, to manufacture it. But all I'm seeing in this base over here isn't a heart shape. All I'm seeing is Marin Kitagawa stomping on Gojo's balls. Yup. Doesn't really contribute much to the figure other than making it look a little bit nicer on the shelf. Now, for the conclusion of this review today, should you get this Marin Kitagawa figure, I would say it is a no-brainer. Sure, it is wobbly, but that is probably the only major weakness of this figure. And the second minor one would be, yeah, the mold lines on both of her legs are a little bit different. Most people wouldn't care. So this is a must-have. Absolutely must-have. Just that don't overpay for her. If you see someone selling 5,000-6,000 yen for this Marin Kitagawa figure, please don't pay that kind of money, right? Try to be more patient, hunt for a good deal, and pick one up. You will like her. And that is all for today's review of Taito's T-Most Marin Kitagawa. If you found this review helpful or informative, please give this video a like and subscribe to this channel for more anime figure content every week. Until then, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys again very soon. On Sunday, Figure News Fix, and then next one will be Alta's official figure review. See ya. Goodbye.